Hello and welcome back to the Ace the Odds pod. We're back after a long hiatus. Glad to be back, especially now it's the second Grand Slam of the year. Tons of stuff to get into. And I just wanted to introduce my partner, Brad Sloan, back in the
Back
house.
again. Long time. Back in the house, baby.
Uh,
First time in like
and
2 months.
and Smoothman Sports, who's been a staple of our pod for the last, I guess, year now, and
It should be about
do,
3 podcasts.
and he's doing great work, kind of building our platform and building his platform as well with building Sharp Circle, uh, Tailgate app, which is phenomenal, and all the Gauntlet that's on Sharp Circle. So why don't you talk a little bit more about that and promote that some more?
Yeah, no, you don't need to tell me twice, as everyone knows all too well. No, thank you very much for having me. I love doing this pod. I love our group chat, honestly, and the more that we're able to take that madness to our audience, the better. Before I get into all that, I just want to say I think we're going to be doing this a lot more in the future. We've agreed to do this every week on Wednesday. So to the extent you have questions, you have things you want us to cover, let us know. But this is going to be something that's coming to you more. They're popular every time we do it. We get great feedback, and more that keeps coming, the more we'll keep doing it. Similarly, thank you to everyone who has signed up for Le Gauntlet Rouge, as we're calling it. We did the Gauntlet Down Under for the Australian Open with Bet 105, and our tailgate has taken the reins to do another predictions tournament, this time around the French Open. So many incredible cappers are participating, all present company included, some bigger names from the community generally, and really excited to see who's going to take home the gold. I'm not doing so hot right now, but Render next tomorrow should hook it up and really take me to new to new heights. But for those of you who aren't familiar with Tailgate, it's a new exchange trading on the Poly Market Network. They have some bigger backers in terms of investors, and they're a really, really exciting piece of tech that I'm really pushing very hard and telling all my friends in the space to push hard too. Long story short is they offer some of the best lines in the game. They take only a 1% transaction fee instead of your standard 10% vig that you're seeing at retail sports books. I just snagged Tommy Paul on there at plus 245. I don't think that number is going to be there. I don't think that number is going to be. I don't think the number is comparable right now, for lack of a better word. But they have a great team there. I hope you guys try it out. Use code SharpC when you sign up, or code Smooth, or code GVM123. Really supports us. But it's not too late to sign up for the Gauntlet either. Sign up. Sign up. We're keeping entries open all the way. Someone won 50 units yesterday on Sfeda ML. So keep it up. But sorry, that's enough self promo. It's about 46 minutes of self promo. So
No,
thank you, Manny.
Tailgate is absolutely fantastic. It has the best prices in the land. I checked, Pinnacle and Bovada and all the other books I use, and it just doesn't come close. So definitely use it. The cash out is amazing as well. Like um, usually the books take such a high percentage when you cash out. Like they're not giving you equitable prices when you cash out, and uh, Tailgate does. Like
Yeah, the
it's
ability to trade in play is pretty cool on the exchange. It's
yeah,
definitely a different world.
phenomenal. So, without further ado, I think let's get right into the tennis. Since we haven't potted in so long, we gotta first talk about the number one player in the world who's been on an absolute tear, Jannik Sinner. I'll start with you, Brad. Like, where do you think this kind of run of the Sunshine Double, the Monte Carlo, Madrid, Rome, like where does it rank in tennis history? And obviously, we're all impressed, but
I mean,
how
I
do
mean,
you
it's obviously up
contextualize
there,
it?
right? He's what? I think this is 30 wins in a row now. He's at, right? I think the number is 30. I
32.
saw
I think
32. Is
32.
that right? So yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the biggest, one of the longest win streaks of all time. I think was Djokovic is it Djokovic with 43 at one point? Is this
Forty-three,
still the
right?
longest?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's definitely up there. I mean, the only pushback I guess you could have is in this win streak, he's beaten Carlos once, right?
Mm-hmm. Monte Carlo final.
So
Yep.
yeah, so once in the so and there's really like unfortunately we're in there right now where like and this is obviously why it happens, right? Like some of this is obviously Yannick being amazing. So you can't, you can only say like there's so much, but there's not I guess there is no other players close to him other than Carlos. But then by the same token, like Zverev has pretty clearly shown himself to be the third best player in the world, and he can't touch Sinner. So think of it another way. Like, what is the min odds that Sinner that like what is the closest a match is going to be priced in this not this Australian Open, the French Open? Like, assuming that Sinner's healthy, is going to be what 7 games, 7.5? Like, is anybody going to get closer? Like, if he plays Zverev in the final, that's got to be a 7.5 game
Yeah.
spread, and I think that's probably the closest anybody gets in terms of a spread. I mean, maybe if like a Hodar made the final, maybe it'd be probably around the same at 7.5, but nobody's getting closer. So, I mean, yeah, it's absurd. Like, I don't think we've seen anything like this where we've been saying that like a guy is going to be the number one versus the number two seed is going to be a 7 game spread. Like that's pretty insane. So, I mean, yeah, he's completely dominating above and beyond anything else in the sport. It's way up there. I mean, the only detractors would obviously be like so far so far he hasn't gotten a slam yet in this 30 win streak, right? And then it would be that he hasn't like it's not like he's had like another. I mean, the best guy he beat Carlos once, and the best guy he's beaten that is Zverev. Who if you're looking at like the history of tennis, it's not like Zverev is an all time great. Like, so there hasn't been like the competition for him. Again, you only play the competition you face, the way he's dominated.
Right. I mean,
And the way he's dominated in different ways. That's something about too. It's like even when he kind of had a bad tournament with Miami, where the rest of his game was a little bit more down, and he kind of had to rely on his serve, and that's what he did. So like, it's been really cool to see Yannick like even as the number one player like clean up his weaknesses.
yeah, that's the biggest takeaway. Like before, we used to kind of complain about, or not necessarily complain, but talk about his lack of variation and lack of ability to move forward. And it feels like he's cleaned up in all those aspects. Like, where
He's
do
also
you
got an
go?
amazing lob.
He does. Yeah.
Like I don't know. He's amazing at he's so good in every part of the game. It's amazing.
But the drop shot too has been a wrinkle during this clay court
Yeah,
season. It's like he doesn't miss drop shots anymore, right?
yeah.
And those cat and mouse points, like you can't. There are no holes. Like if you're game planning to play him, what do you do? I don't know. I really don't. Like I feel even against Djokovic, he was pretty during the Federer Nadal era, he was kind of that player that didn't have the weaknesses, but I felt like you could still kind of push him in the corners, i.e. Wawrinka, a little bit, right?
Djokovic didn't have the power that Sinner does, right? Like Sinner, it's like Djokovic didn't have the pure ball striking and pure power. And when I say like he has power, like Djokovic, obviously he's like an amazing player, but he doesn't have like the all time great, like yeah, like all time great power, all time great like ball striking that Sinner does too. Like
Hmm.
that's the thing is like the core of Sinner's game is still the ball striking and defense, and it's insane. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
no doubt. Anything to add, Smooth?
Yeah, I think the addition of variety is a really interesting point. I think the last time we spoke about Yannick, some 20 years ago, last time we plotted, I think I said something along the lines of like Carlos has created a gap and is clearly the best player in the world until Yannick closes it. And we went through all the things he needed to do to close it. And so far, the questions that have been asked, at least, seem to have been answered from my POV. You're 100% right that he added variety. I went to Courtside Advantage to check it out, compared his 2025 stats against his 2026 stats. In 2025, he hit 87% of his shots as core shots. So those are your standard baseline shots. This year, that's down to 83%. And a 4% tick doesn't really feel like all too much, but that's I think a meaningful
Hmm.
exchange. It's not just like that he's adding more variety. It's when he's adding variety and how he's adding variety. He's doing it, still sparingly compared to, to a Carlos, to I guess other players on tour. But when he's using it in a remarkably effective way. I'm trying to find how what percentage of his drop shot points he wins, but it's something ridiculous.
I think I heard it was in the
Yeah.
80s. It was like 83%.
No, no,
Like,
no, no, no. I
no?
don't think it's is it if it's that high, that would be
It was in the
that would
70s or 80s. It's high. It's high.
is it really that high?
Yeah, I think someone said it on Tennis TV. I don't remember. Don't quote me
Oh
on it,
yeah,
but it
no, I got
was
it. I got it. So the tour, I got it right here. So the
yeah.
tour, thanks to courtside advantage again. So the tour on average, when they hit a drop shot, they win 51% of the time, 50.8% of the time. Yannick is
Uh,
winning 73% of the
yeah.
time when
Okay.
he's hitting a drop shot, which
That's
is just
insane.
that's
That's
insane.
absurd.
It's insane. So and like
Yeah.
like you might look at that first number, like 80, he's still hitting 83% of the shots as core ground strokes. But like again, that 4% matters, and it's when he's using that 4%, it's often in a pressure situation, it's often on a game point,
What
and he's
what's the
just converting with
what's the
ruthless
percentage of
efficiency.
points he's winning? Because usually it's what for the
50
best of all time, it's 54, 46, right? Like in that
uh
area.
this year he's winning 57%
That's
of total points.
that's absurd.
Last year he won 56% of total points.
57 is crazy.
This is non-slam values, but
Yeah.
the only thing I'll add is that one question that we mentioned was his physical fitness, and that is an open question still, and that really hasn't been pressed since Djokovic, I guess, in Australia. And Yannick lost that match on some insane variance, but um, he is playing a day match against Juanma tomorrow, and I don't think that matters because Juanma is coughing baby to Yannick's nuclear bomb. But I don't really know if anyone can really
Yeah.
test it in that way, so I don't really
Yeah,
know that
no,
it matters.
I mean, that's the
yeah.
thing. In this tournament, who's gonna even like take a set like to make? I mean,
Well,
maybe somebody does because maybe he plays a bad set. Like he probably will at some point play a bad set and drop one. But I mean, I can't see a player who I would favor to win a set at this point.
well, let me ask you this. So, you know how Brad, you said the most he'll or the least he'll be favored by 7.5 games, right? Would you take 7.5 if anyone was playing him in the draw? Like, would you even consider, okay, I'll take the 7.5 or I'll take the plus 2.5 sets at a good price? Like, is there a guy in the draw that you would take that bet against Yannick?
2.5 sets, I would take a few people.
Who?
I take. I'm just stupid, but I take Zverev to get a set.
Ooh, not me.
I
Not
take
me.
Hodar to get a set.
Hodar is interesting. Zverev, absolutely
Um,
not, because when Zverev gets to 5-all or a tiebreak, he's gonna wimp out, and it's gonna be in a slam final when he's gonna be tight as hell. So it's just like Zverev, no.
I might take. I might take a particularly hot Kabuli to take a set. I might take. I don't know. This is all. This is all
Fonseca is interesting, right? Like
Fonseca.
he has the weapons at least.
I mean, like Sinner is an overwhelming favorite for very good reason. I think the only time I personally would look to fade him is on a conditions fade against
Hmm.
someone who is capable of extending the match. But to your point, it's really not that many people. Um,
I
maybe Francisco Cerundolo if he gets far enough.
no.
So I know that's gross, but like,
Ironically, I look at the top half of the draw, and the guys that I think actually have the best chance against him, I'm gonna throw a name you're probably not expecting. Rinderknecht.
yeah, maybe that's not crazy. Just because his ability to hold serve and like just or what?
He played him real tough last year at the French. Got to seven
Yeah.
six in the third. I think he could ride the crowd a little bit. Like yeah, I don't. And also, he kind of has an attacking minded game. Like he's not underpowered in that matchup necessarily. I mean, everyone's underpowered against Yannick, but not like Juanma Cerundolo is, you know?
Right.
Darderi took a set off him in Australia, right? Or got to a tiebreak, I believe. So,
I was gonna say, I mean, I just think Darderi, that's a really bad matchup. He's just so
right.
this is the problem. Is like who matches up well? Like who matches up well with Sinner? I mean, Rinderknecht is a good pull, Manny. Like Rinderknecht is actually the underrated good pull. Like
Yeah.
that is like looking through it,
And
that
he
is
battles, right? Rinderknecht is not going to give
yeah,
in.
he's I mean, to me, like he's never gonna win the match, but he's the guy. Like
If you give me Rinderknecht or Shelton against Yannick at the French, I'm taking Rinderknecht.
I actually agree.
So, and that's it. It's the end of the list for me.
Learner Tien. I'll take Learner Tien. Guess that. You're joking. I'm not. You're
Leonard Tennant's
laughing.
one
I'm
of the
not.
top
I'm
half,
dead
right?
serious.
Yeah, but Sinner eats those guys up. They're Lerner, as good as he is relative to his level, he's underpowered, you know?
Dude, I don't think that's true anymore. I think he's maybe underpowered on serve, but his baseline power is legit, I
Didn't
think.
we
But
didn't we see him play Sinner at Indian Wells and he got what, one and two?
hey man, that was many, many moons ago. Was
Uh,
it 1 and 2? That makes sense.
Something
That
like
makes sense.
that.
It was brutal, dude. He's
All right.
tough.
Yeah.
He's tough.
All right, let's move on to the next topic. So let's talk a little bit about the rise of Rafa Jodar. He's been incredible. I think semis in Barcelona, quarters in Madrid, quarters in Rome. Tough battle with Duckworth today. That doesn't give us too much cause for optimism, but for I think the first slam where he's a legitimate contender and best of
It's his
five
second
tennis is
slam
different.
overall. He nearly became. I think Navone was the first guy to be a seeded player in his first slam.
Yeah.
Hodar was almost the second, except he
Wow.
did qualify for the Australian, so he wasn't his first slam technically.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean that gives you an idea of the rise though. Like he literally couldn't even get into the
Crazy.
Australian in his own ranking, and now he's seeded.
I mean, I'll just kind of express my thoughts. I mean, I just am super impressed by his ability to hit aggressively into both corners at such a young age. Like, and his kind of calm demeanor, just the focus that he has is very impressive. And I think like he kind of has a sinner demeanor about him, and I think that that will carry him far. I'm just a little bit concerned about the fitness and the lack of variation. I think that that's the one thing that can hurt him, but his draw is excellent, and I mean he should make the quarters, honestly. But to me, it's just the calmness and the ability to hit big off both wings.
Yeah, I don't have a
Uh,
ton to add. I mean, I
mhm.
don't have a ton to add. I think Manny, you took what I was going to say. Yeah, I'm amazed because I didn't realize he was this good. Like because like his hard like his hard results and his hard data was not was didn't look like this, and so it's so weird to see a guy go from hard to clay and look this much better. And it's weird because to me it seems like I guess that's the question. And that's the question actually with a lot of these guys when we get into the young guns segment. But like we've got a lot of these guys like it feels like the way he plays, he should be fine on hard courts too. Like I don't think he's going to be just a clay specialist, but yet like it's incredible how he's gone from having like an okay but not special hard court season to being amazing on clay.
Yeah, I just think his ability to hit big off both wings, right? And do it on the run. And also transition to net. Like his net game is above average. It's pretty good for a young guy. Like that's another thing that kind of caught my eye. And he plays top big points well as well. And I think that speaks to the calmness. And I think he's actually benefiting from a dip in the quality of the overall tour. Like I think the fact that the competition is not as high as it probably was, like, in the top, not overall, like 0 to 200, but like in the top 30. I think it's a slightly weaker time overall, and I think he's kind of taking advantage of that.
Like I said, I'm just amazed that that he went from being 5-6 on hard, and all of a sudden he looks like a borderline top 10er on clay. And like, not that it's not possible. There are clay specialists. A guy like Francis Ringolo is probably pretty close to that also. But I just didn't realize that he was I'm not convinced he's a clay specialist. I guess that's the question: is he a clay specialist, or will his game translate in the second half of the year? That's what I'll be really interested to see.
Mhm. I mean, to me, he's number 5 on my power rankings. I have Sinner, Djokovic, Zverev. Well, whatever. Probably Sinner, Zverev, Djokovic. Um, who was number 4? I think Casper Ruud was 4, and I think Hodar is 5.
Yeah. I mean, I think Hodar is a very special player. And I think we talked about, you talked about his ball striking out of both corners, out of both wings. But I think contextualizing it and putting it into context is extremely important. I think a lot of people immediately assume that Hodar is Spanish, so he must play like Nadal or Alcaraz. But by far, the closest player he plays to is Sinner. He's specifically modeled his game after Sinner. He said it himself in after he won the U.S. Open boys title. I think he said something along those lines.
Mhm.
And his ball striking is just about on par with Sinner's, at least numerically, at the young age of 19. Both of them, Sinner hits his forehand at 82 miles an hour. Hodar hits it at 81 miles an hour. The tour average, for reference, is 78 miles an hour. Sinner hits his backhand at 76 miles an hour. Hodar at 75 miles an hour. Tour average is again 72 miles an hour. These guys are hitting with comparable spin on the forehand. Both of them are hitting with 3,200 RPMs. Tour average is 2,800 RPMs. Sinner's backhand is obviously it's a different beast. Sinner's backhand has 2,200 RPMs, and Hodar's only has 1870. Both more than 1,800, but Sinner's a little bit different there. But that's super rare air. The only people hitting with those numbers in general are Carlos Alcaraz, Arthur Fee, and Jannik Sinner, and now Rafa Jodar. Those are the only people passing the 83K, 77 2K or 1.5K. It's 1850 RPM on the backhand thresholds. So, he's only hitting 3 more errors per game too. He's hitting just about the same amount of winners. The talent is really there. To Brad's point, I think he's going to be a freaking monster on the hard courts when he gets there. I think the clay is helping his game right now in terms of giving him a little bit more time to get on the ball, and the ball bounces higher on clay, which I think is good for his frame. But I think, that hard court season was his first real taste at the ATP level. So I think it might have just been adjusting to the speed, adjusting to the travel, adjusting to everything new. And now that he's home in Europe, I think he's finding a new gear, and I think he's going to be very, very dangerous here if he holds up physically. I also think it's interesting. One last thing about him is I think the weakest part of his game right now is his serve, and that's something that the mechanics on it need a lot of work. You can see it. You compare his serve to Jannik's, there's still a lot of wasted energy and a lot of inefficiencies, but that's so much easier to fix than, say, not having touch at the net, something you mentioned that he has, or not being able to control the ball or construct points from the baseline, which he's able to do.
Well, the biggest thing
I'm
is
very impressed.
Movement. I think the hardest thing for guys to get better at is movement.
Mhm.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good one too. He's good, dude. He's a good mover.
Yeah,
I think.
he's good.
What do you guys
He's
think?
good. I totally agree with you. I mean, I think he's very underrated in and out of the corners. I think he might go a little bit too big too early to get out of points. And I think that that's something he can improve on, the shot selection under pressure. But I'm nitpicking here. I mean, for a 19-year-old, I think it's at a higher level than what Sinner was at 19, for
Yeah,
sure.
Smooth. I asked you the questions. I was super excited to hear those stats. I completely agree with that. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't translate to at least a hard grass. Who knows? Grass is such a different animal, and like he'll just like I just don't know how much he's played on grass. So, but hard for sure. I don't see why he wouldn't translate. I 100%. I'll be really interested to see what people. I don't think it's going to be long, but if like from a market perspective, if people think he's a clay court specialist, again to your point, just of the stats he's put up on clay, the the uh the fact that he's Spanish, yada yada, like because I agree that he should be great on hard. Like there's no really I just think he's a really really good tennis player. And then I mean the stuff we've been talking about that are issues for him, they're issues for every single young guy. Like
Yeah.
what young guy has come up with a like except for the guys who are like kind of like on like the bottish end. Like what young guys have come up with like fantastic serves, you know, unlike your Pericards who don't have nothing else. Like
No, even Sinner's serve was a liability, and
even
now is
Alcaraz's serve was a liability.
right,
Yeah.
right. Sinner's serve is now the best serve on tour, and was for a long time considered like the attackable part of his game. So it's very interesting how quickly tennis players develop and become dominant. It's interesting. It's this is a fascinating case study. The tour needed him
Well,
desperately.
I actually think also it's really interesting to see because you know I think we can kind of move to the next segment, a little transition.
Mhm.
Like it's been a revelation. I think the first 3 months of this season. One of the or now we're actually in May. We're halfway through. It's 5 months in. We're really at the halfway point of the season because it ends in October. Like if there's a revelation for me the first half of this season, it's really like we're finally having that changing of the guard. Like we have a whole bunch of young guys coming up now that are really, really young, you know, 22 and under, who are really making moves. And I think there's something to it. It's like just the training style now, like the nutrition's so much better. These kids come up now and they look like men. Like these 19, 20, like, you know, like they're, you know, compared to even 10, 15 years ago. I mean, it's insane. We can transition to some of the young guys we wanted to talk about, like, you know, we're seeing Boothé come up. I think is he another teenager? Is Boothé 19 or is he 20?
He's in that
Yeah, no,
range.
he's 22. Sorry, he's older than I thought.
I
Boothé's
don't think he's a
22,
teen.
but we're seeing you know, we're seeing we can start with Boothé. I mean, you know, he's a guy who, you know, all of a sudden I remember watching him a couple years ago play against Chile in the Davis Cup. And I think he had a win actually. He was right, you know, I think he had a win over an ATP level player in Davis Cup, and you know, but
He's really improved. I mean,
yeah, I guess maybe I'll transition to you. You can talk a little bit, but yeah, yeah.
he's really improved. Buse really impressed me. His backhand is actually quite excellent. His
It's
ability to
nasty.
redirect off that shot was something that caught my eye in that final against Tommy Paul. Like that was it was fantastic, and his ability to redirect up the line and create winners there. Um, I love his game. I don't know how it's going to translate to hard court. Lerner obviously is. I'll let Smooth go on him. I know you're higher on him. I think. I mean, that was a very impressive Geneva run. Like, it's not like we've always thought he's a great tennis player, but you know, the fact that he kind of learned how to move on clay now and kind of improvise on this surface and like grind down a Mariana Navoni is super impressive. Um, I wonder what the next step is for him on clay. I think he's a little bit limited, but Smooth, you'll probably disagree with me there. Um, Dino Prizmic, another guy. I mean, he lost to Fonseca today in a fascinating match, not tennis wise, but like in terms of kind of what to expect from these guys going forward. Landaluce has also had a kind of up and coming rise. I think he's a bit
I
too
mean, he's had two
erratic
runs. I'm not
still.
as high on Landaluce either, but he's
I
had
agree.
two really good tournament runs now.
Yeah. Um, so of these guys, what who do you think has the most potential long term?
I mean, of the young guys, I mean, I can go first.
Mhm.
Are we including Fonseca in that mix as well?
We're not kind of the lower tier, so I would say
So
like
excluding
limited to
Fonseca and Hodar.
yeah.
I would say excluding
Um,
Fonseca, Hodar, and Lerner, because I think Lerner's at a different level now also.
I was about to say that just feels too
okay,
easy. Lerner now has a title on hard and clay, and he's
okay,
19. I think he's
fair.
the youngest of the group, actually. Um, which is in case is he younger than who's older, Lerner or Hodar?
Lerner's 20, Hodar's 19.
Lerner just turned 22 days ago.
Yeah.
So okay, Hodar's the baby. Then I think I am probably most excited about Alex Blocks. Would probably
Ooh,
be my choice for that. I
interesting.
know he
Okay.
just got hurt on some absolute nonsense. Um, but I mean, he put together an extremely impressive clay run on two very different types of clay in Monte Carlo and Madrid.
Yep.
The only players to beat him since we've switched surfaces are Demon in Monte Carlo in a very tight two sets. Ben in Munich after that Monte Carlo run. Ben would go on to win Munich. And then Zverev twice. And then Tarp beat him as well. But he has an extremely good serve, extremely excellent backhand. His net game is not as bad as I thought it was. It's actually like his hands are way more advanced than they were a year ago, I'd say. But what really surprises me about him is just how freaking well he moves. He's a
Mm-hmm.
big dude, but he's like the reason his ground strokes are so pure is because he's always in freaking position. Um, he really impressed me with this run. He won a lot of different ways, and I actually thought hard courts suited his game best for a very long time. Um, and if he's able to carry this momentum forward, it will be very interesting. I'm hoping he's able to return to get some momentum in time for because his game should translate there.
A ton of
Decently
impressive
okay.
wins. I mean, Kaboli, he beat Demonor. No, well, like, tight two setter, he lost to Demonor. He lost a tight two setter to Shelton in Munich, but then beat Casper and Francisco Cerundolo and
And
FAA
Felix, yeah.
and Nakashima
Yeah, and Benak. I
in
mean,
Madrid.
that run in Madrid was crazy, and then got annihilated by Zverev in
I'll give
Zverev's best
you
tournament.
Dolo, FAA, and Nakashima are all kind of overrated in their own respect, but the Rude win was impressive,
Yeah,
no doubt.
I don't know, man. Beating Felix in altitude clay and beating Dolo in a Masters, I'll those are good wins, man. Oh
Those
wait,
are
I want to hear
good
Brad's
wins. I
answer.
mean,
Those are real
like
good.
they might not be top 10 wins, but like again, we're not saying Blocks is even top 10 or top 20 yet. We're just
Hmm.
yeah, I
I
mean,
agree.
I would agree with you, Smooth. Also, I think like if we're talking about these guys overall, right? Surface versatility becomes a thing, and I think Blocks is probably the
Yep.
leader there. Like when I look at Buse, I think he's pretty clearly going to be a clay quarter to me. At least I expect him to do much better on clay than hard. Um,
Yep.
yeah, some of the other guys you mentioned probably similar. Prizmic, I'm still a little bit low on. I still feel like
Yeah, I agree.
to me, Prizmic really hasn't proven very much yet, to be honest. Like
Hmm.
the he's beaten a lot of guys who he should beat.
That loss
Agreed.
today was not a good loss for Dino
No,
Persich.
Right.
it's the way
Right.
he went down too, right?
Right.
Um, Played really well in the first two sets, but just couldn't do anything. Like missing easy balls, like pressured when he wasn't even really pressured. Like just was not good. I thought he was kind of on the
Well, I
way
mean, if you
up.
look, right, so if you look at Prizmic, like if you look at this supposed run, okay, he's got a win over Djokovic. Djokovic hasn't looked good since he returned. But and we'll see how we'll talk more about Djokovic, I'm sure, later in the pod. But he's got a win over Djokovic. He does have a win over Shelton. I guess that was at altitude, so I guess that's a good win. Although, um, that was after Madrid was after Munich, right? It was the week after Munich. So
Mm,
Shelton was coming off the Munich title.
hmm.
So I mean, is that a great win? I guess, but it was his first match back after that, so maybe there was a little bit of a hangover. Um, Otherwise, I'm looking at the list of wins. These clay wins, we've got Basilashvili, a bunch of guys in a challenger, including Royer and Bellucci, probably the best in the challenger. Berrettini, O'Connell, Fusovics, Humbert, and Rome. Like, it's not an impressive list. He's he's beaten the crap out of a bunch of guys he should beat the crap out of. But when he's come up against like real competition, he's still losing close
Yeah.
more often, more often than not. Again, the exceptions being Djokovic, which I think is a pretty asterisk thing at this point because we'll see, and Shelton, which also has to be asterisk given it was the match after the Munich title.
And we're going to get some good prices on him on clay. I think the market thinks that he's better than he actually is. Smooth, won popcorn with me. I mean, Fonseca is the better player. There's no doubt. But like we cashed when
I think match day was a problem because like Fonseca is a good player. Like Fonseca is a good player when you watch him play, but the results haven't been there this clay season. So I kind of understood why the line was where it was.
That's true, but like we cashed Kachanov as a decent sized dog. I think he was plus 170 against Dino in Rome, and like that was a pretty easy cash. I think he was favored against Etch in Madrid, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't remember offhand. Try to look that up.
Um, I mean, even when he goes against the likes of Rafael Collignon, he lost 6-3.
Well, that's exactly it. So probably the best guys he's played in this clay run are probably Altmaier, Collignon, because I think his third best win is probably Humbert on clay. Collignon, Altmaier, Etch, Kachanov, and now Fonseca are the losses. So when he's gone up against like really strong competition, this makes him 2-5 now. Give him the wins against Djokovic and Shelton, albeit maybe I don't think they're as elite wins as some would say, but he's got and yeah, he's losing close, but again, compared to the hype, there's still some yeah. I'm not as sold yet. I need to see some more, just some more mid-tier level wins would even be good. There's really not. I mean, like I said, when Humbert is your third best win, that's not great.
So let's transition to a guy that Prizmic did beat, and that's Ben Shelton. Ben Shelton,
Wait.
huh? Go ahead.
Sorry, I had an idea I had another question for you guys on the Young Guns talents. Is that
Okay? Sure.
how do you rank the other three, the three elite youngsters that we separated between Hodar,
Fonseca, and Tien? Are you saying right now on clay smooth, or are we saying like in terms of future?
I think rest of season.
Rest of season.
I'll do both. If you go clay, I think it's very clearly Hodar, Fonseca, and Tien. I think in that order. If you go rest of season, I'd probably go Hodar, Tien, and then Fonseca.
Mm. Does anyone want to take 10?
I think rest of season, I would go Hodar first. Yeah, I think rest of season, given it's going to be mostly hard court rest of season, I would go Hodar, Tien, Fonseca.
Okay. We're all pretty much in alignment. I might take 10 ahead of Hodar for rest of season. I know that's maybe a little surprising, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of a physical fall off for Hodar when we transition back to the hard courts, but we'll see. And I kind of
you think going back, it's just like a body thing, like just a lot of hours on a hard physical surface, and just given the frame, and then given again like the travel, and there might be a little bit of a hangover from a full season of travel as opposed to right now he's at home in Europe.
I think he's good. He will have played a very long natural surfaces season by that point, just by nature of going very deep in tournaments. And then I think you introduce leaving his home in Europe. You introduce because he didn't play the natural swing last year, did he?
He did. He just lost first round every week.
He lost first round every week. Okay. And I think, I think he'll be better prepared for the travel now. But I think the focus, there will be things he'll be looking to improve. Like improvement isn't linear, and I kind of think Lerner, on the other hand, is in a spot where he's really starting to excel. I also think the tour will get data on Hodar. The same way they get data on Fonseca, the same way they got data on Tien, the same way they get data on everyone, and will start to pick at things that we don't even know yet. So, um,
I mean, but
all
do we
Hodar's
think
done is got a
like,
big target
and
on his back.
this is a good question. Like, do we think these guys are that smart that they're really able to pick at weaknesses like that in match? It seems like these guys, when I watch, it feels like a lot of these guys play on instincts more than they're really able to like really like. If there's obvious things, right? Like guys have like when like guys with like glaring backhand weaknesses, those maybe get picked at. But I feel like in match, maybe with the exception of like serve placement, serve positioning, I feel like it's
Yeah,
hard
it's
to pick at
that.
these things. It's just such a fast game.
No, it's that, and the teams and the players with bigger teams will have better data, but it's understanding where Hodar likes to go in certain moments is material edge. I forgot the exact stat, but there was something like this is just an example, but it was something like Fonseca was using a like slice down the T on breakpoint or on deuce for like X% of the time. I forgot what it was, and like players found an edge there. Like when you're this good, players will look for any actionable edge they can find, and I think that compiles over time.
I agree, and I think on the serve, 100%. I think that's the one exception where you definitely because now, especially with the on-court coaching, right? The coaches can know that, and the coaches can be saying, "Hey, make sure they can even say in the minimum match, like, hey, make sure you stand close to the tee or get ready for that tee serve at deuce." I just think once the point begins, it gets a lot harder.
Oh, for sure, for sure. What's plans are all well and good until you get punched in the face, and tennis point is like being punched in the face over and over again. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm right there with you. But strategically, they'll like I think with Fonseca, it became pretty clear you can work this guy around a little bit, and he will. I don't know. I guess that was pretty clear before. I'm just saying things. We can move to bed. Thank you for
Oh,
entertaining me.
absolutely.
I
That
really
was a great
think that those
question.
three are very very good. Um, like very very good, and I don't think we're gonna
And
have
it'll be
like a
really
new big
interesting to see
three
how they
thing. But
develop because they're
yeah,
all actually
exactly,
they're all pretty different as well.
exactly.
Hmm.
They're all very different. I'd say. And they all present a little bit different side of the sport that I love to see. So,
What's
and one
funny
of them
is
is
But they
American.
also all present, they all have different areas they need to improve on. I think it's going to be interesting to see, it's going to be interesting to see how well each of them is able to improve on their weaknesses in order to get where they need to get to. Because they each have a pretty, I think, still some one or two pretty big weaknesses. And, it'll be interesting to see how they kind of clean those up.
what's funny is we haven't talked about Alex Mickelson in this discussion, who was
Oh,
known
He's
to
only
be,
21.
yeah, I know, but he's known to be Tien's kind of counterpart, and like I feel like Tien has kind of separated himself from that from
Oh,
him.
Tien's way separated. So, I mean, that's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
problem with Mickelson is that Mickelson, like, he's only 21. So he kind of got
yeah,
lost in the under 22 conversation we just had because he feels like, again, he feels like he's been around forever because
right.
he's only 21. But I don't see him going anywhere, man. I think I will still say it. I said it when it first happened. I think he made a big mistake not playing college tennis for a year or two in order to get more athletic and work on those and work on some of this and get a year or two to work on the things he needed to work on because I don't I feel like he's going to end up being what he is right now, which is like a top 30
Yeah,
to top 50 guy.
yeah, yeah. I
I
agree
mean,
with
he'll
you.
forehand
have a
looks a
great
little
career. He'll
better.
make a lot of money. Like, there's no, like, it's not like I don't think he's going to be a failure of a player. And he's a great competitor. Like, it's nothing against him, but I just don't see him becoming elite.
Yeah, he's limited. Um, See, it's funny because I look at Lerner as being limited, but then he proves me wrong every time because he's just
Yeah,
so smart tactically, and like he masks his lack of power so well by putting balls in uncomfortable
But no,
spots.
he's also improved on that.
That's
I'm gonna agree with Smooth here. The power is much improved from Lerner versus a year ago. He's not a pure counterpuncher anymore.
okay.
he's striking the ball right now,
Hmm.
but I think he
Yeah.
is. You're
The
right though.
move
He is below. He is below tour average
the
on both
improvement on the
wings.
movement on clay has really impressed me with Lerner, and he's done that like even early in the clay court season in Houston, like he didn't have that. He lost to Burruchaga there, and in Madrid he lost to Vallejo, right? And then immediately he kind of put in the hard yards and made round of 16 in Rome, and then won Geneva. So, and now all of a sudden we're thinking he's competitor, but I see a noticeable difference in the way he moves on the surface. Like he's actually sliding into balls and defending, and like it's really impressive. Really impressive.
I mean, if you were going to make a case for Lerner being the best player of the three, it would almost have to be based on his ability to improve at better than the other three, because he's probably, or better than the other two, being Hodar and Fonseca. Because if you rated them on pure upside, I would still put pure upside as Fonseca, then Hodar, then Tien.
Agreed. Agreed.
But, and that's not saying that Tien doesn't have upside. He's proven that he does. But now we're in a different world of ranking these guys. But Tien's also shown the ability to improve himself, I think, a lot faster than Fonseca. Like for Fonseca, It's been a pretty disappointing play season, man. Is he a good player?
We'll get into Fonseca a little bit later when we talk his match with Djokovic.
Sorry, I kind of jumped the gun there.
But I wanna move on to Ben Shelton. So for me, he's a hard guy to gauge when I do my clay court power rankings because he won Munich. He had a very, very kind of subpar results at the Masters 1000 level in Madrid and Rome. You would think he would do really well in Madrid. He didn't. And then, but he's also a slam merchant. Like his 5 set kind of record speaks for itself, and like he obviously has the fitness and the energy to last 5 sets. So he's kind of puzzling for me to gauge. I know Smooth, you were really high on him after he won Munich. You thought it was sustainable. Where do you land? Where do you land on him now?
Yeah, I don't really know what to make of him, to tell you the truth. I am kind of disappointed in his clay season, to tell you the truth. And he has a title, which I really expected him to make a much better run in Madrid, and I guess that's a really big ask after Munich. I don't know. I think he's a big unknown. I think his losses were not good losses, to say the least. I'm trying to pull them up right now.
The 3 losses since Munich have been
Bash,
Bash, and Altmaier. Yeah, those are horrible losses. Those are not acceptable losses.
And 7-6 in the third against Giron is basically a loss.
That's a loss. Dropping a set to Giron is a loss. I guess props to him for playing Hamburg, I guess, but you're right. He is a slam merchant. I still think his game should translate very strongly to the clay. I mean, we'll see if it does. He still looks super uncomfortable to me, but his raw metrics are excellent in terms of serve quality, return quality, forehand quality, backhand quality. All of those things are up compared to his averages from last year, and that's just his clay swing numbers. Like his clay ball striking is up compared to his 2025 average ball striking. It hasn't been good enough. Hasn't been good enough consistently. So if he can string together some momentum here, I'll be very optimistic. He has a huge match tomorrow. I think it's a very challenging opponent. Very, very capable, very challenging, very informed Rafael Collignon. I'm on Shelton at -156, but that was a pure price play.
Yeah, but
had I had the line today, I would be all over Collignon at +200. I think that's crazy.
Do we think that? I mean, do we? We talked about Ben Shelton's fitness just now. Like, is his? I guess it's time we define fitness, because, like, is it? And I don't know. I don't know. So do you have the serve quality data? But like, it'd be interesting to see that by match, because like I wonder, like, I don't know. Like it's weird how like he can play. He can play like he can time play, like he can play really well in slams. And I wonder if there's like some strategy there that he knows that he doesn't have like every week in and every week out of him, and that he has to prioritize almost certain tournaments over others. Maybe it's the shoulder, I don't know what, but like I wonder if there's something there, because he's now proven over 3 years that he does way better in slams. I don't think he's done well in a single warm-up tournament before a slam. Like, it really feels like he targets certain events.
Toronto last year, that was it.
But that's not a warm-up event.
That's not a warm-up. That's a slam. That's like a Masters.
Masters. Oh, warm-up event meaning what? Well, he did win Dallas.
Dallas was That
That's
was an
after.
event. That's
That was
February,
his
isn't
after
it?
the Australian Open.
Oh, what do you define warm-up event?
An event
Hamburg,
within 2 to 3 weeks of the
Winston-Salem.
slam.
Okay. So you think he's just kind of gearing up, but you never see that. Like what his energy always shows that he's fully invested in whatever match he's playing.
It's just time and time again, right? Like, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's true. The loss against Baez in was it Auckland? Was I wouldn't say that was super energetic effort.
Wasn't he
Okay,
sick?
fair.
They had to go indoors. I don't know if it was they had to go. I think did they
Yeah.
go indoors or something, or
It was
did it
delayed a
rain
day or
delay?
two, and then yeah, I
Yeah.
guess that's a good call out. I mean, I think Collignon is his toughest match, but looking at his draw, I think he makes the quarters. Like it's crazy, but I'd be surprised if he didn't.
I
I
hope he
mean, he
does,
also
man.
we've talked about before. He's also got and I don't know if it's just a matter of him being aggressive, and he knows he has to be aggressive, so he's not afraid to be aggressive because he knows he has to be. But like, he's got a great he's got a great mentality in like clutch situations. And I don't say that about too many guys in the tour, but he's probably top five in terms of guys who like I'm like when I bet against him, he's probably top five in the guys that on exchanges you can do this for a lot cheaper. He's probably in the top five of guys I'd want to cash out from in a winning position against. Like if I was betting if I was fading Shelton and my guy got to a winning position, he's probably in the top five guys I'd want to cash out against. Like I'd want to cash out that bet.
Interesting. Just don't fade him with Yuri Lechka.
No, that's a mistake. On the Shelton point about about him trying really hard in matches that aren't slams, I think he tries hard when he has to, like when he's down a break and like fighting to come back. But the focus is really waning before that. I see a lot of sloppy service games that get to deuce that have no business getting to deuce. Like how many times has Ben Shelton saving random break points in the middle of like his second service game?
And this
It feels
is
like all the time.
but this
And
is
that should
why
not be the case.
he's better in slams because he has more time, right? So
Exactly.
like the consequence of having those small dips in a service game is not as consequential when he has the energy to sustain a deep five setter.
It's also, man, like it's also like the return points one is still not where it needs to be. Like he's at Shelton's on clay this year. So this is including winning the Munich title. He still is at 32% return points won on clay. That's horrid.
It's so
It's
bad.
bad, yeah. It's bad.
Like, and it's the entire thing. You're right, Smooth. It's the lack of focus. It's the return of serve itself. It's the just give away points for no reason. Like you talk about the ball striking metrics being good, but the reason it's not good enough is I think he just tosses points away for no reason.
For 100%. No, for no reason. He'll just like is no one's more comfortable starting 30 down, 30 love down than Ben Shelton. And there's just no, if you do that over and over again, you're gonna lose. So
So
frustrating.
now add Ben Shelton to those three guys we talked about, Fonseca,
Ooh.
Tien, and Hodar. Do those guys ahead of Ben Shelton right now as we speak? I'm not talking only about Clay. I'm talking about rest of the year as well.
The only one who I think is arguably ahead of him right now is maybe Hodar. Maybe I don't think there's any. Didn't Shelton just beat Fonseca on clay? So Fonseca has to go back to go.
Okay.
He's in jail for this conversation. Um, sorry, Ben Shelton has no business beating Fonseca on clay. That's bad. Um, Hodar, I don't know. I think it's surface dependent. I think on grass, I'm definitely taking Ben. On clay, I'm definitely taking Hodar. On a hard court, I think I'm definitely taking Ben. Um, until Hodar starts putting together any semblance of results that he's put together on clay. I'm going to need to see it before I'm ready to put him there. So probably Ben is still a cut above it. I love both those guys, but a Masters title is still much more impressive
It's also
than
the service still
Buenos
insane.
Aires.
So
Yeah.
I just told you
Yeah,
that he's only winning 32% of his return points. He's winning 71% of his service points on
on
clay.
clay, that's crazy.
So
Yeah, that's true.
like,
That's crazy.
like, and his serve, it's not just like his serve is almost underrated because the spin is insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
The kick serve is the best
And
kick serve on tour
and the
right now.
second serve is absurd. That's what I was going to say. Smooth, exactly. Like this, the serve, his serve is almost underrated in that it is the second serve. Being mostly the kick serve is such a difficult serve to get back. Like you can get a racket on it, but it's hard to like get it back in play. And then it's such a good point starter for him. He still is a great athlete. He still is probably the best. Maybe he's not the best athlete in the sport, but he's definitely top 5 athlete in the sport. He's still got a great mentality when he has to, when he's behind, when he's fighting. Like, there's a lot of positive stuff to still say about Shelton. I think the Shelton frustration is that like all the stuff that we've seen, like we haven't seen like not only have we not seen like improvement is not linear, but it's not even that we haven't seen improvement from him. It's that we've seen these like random spurts of improvement that then dissipate right away. And I think that's been a really frustrating part.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's a good way to put it. I mean, maybe the shoulder injury that he had at the end of the year was a little setback. Like, so injuries could be a part of it, I guess. But yeah, it's true.
But Smooth is right. A lot of it's a lack of focus. Like there's definitely like some mental game work to be done there.
Yeah, when he needs to focus, he's great, right? Like when he's break point down and he has to find the goods, right? He's fantastic. But it's like those 15 all points when it's 2 all.
Here's a question: does he need another voice in the box besides his dad? I don't think he should fire his dad, but does he need like a second voice besides his dad in the box? Because
it's good.
Like some of these things feel like they could be fixed by coaching.
It's a good point.
Yeah, I think it's tough to say. At certain times, I feel like Brian Shelton has a very good handle on Ben, and then other times I feel like Brian Shelton is capping Ben's.
Well, I mean that's why I said like I don't think he should fire him, because I think there are times, and the way that Brian kind of manages Ben, like the fact that he does so well in slams, I think that is a testament to Brian's coaching and
for sure,
and the way he guides him through a season. So I think like there's things that like I don't think that firing, like I'm not putting Brian Shelton on the chopping block, but sometimes I think there's like I think it's almost like he needs an offensive coordinator or something, right? Like he needs like a head coach and a coordinator or something, especially just because like of at least from what I've seen, like the personality he is as a player and the style he plays. It feels like he's somebody who could benefit from having like
that's a good point.
A true team around him of people giving him different thoughts and opinions.
Sure, he's gonna need to take ownership of his career for that to happen. I think that'll eventually come. Same way it did for Zarin.
He's only 23. We talk about the young guys. He's young,
and he's passed well. We'll see. I mean, it's crazy. It's and like again like the growth, right? Like the problem is now we say the growth of Shelton's been amazing, but it was really a growth from like 16 to 21, and now again it's kind of peaked. It's kind of, I don't even know if it's plateaued. The scary thing is that it's been like up and down now. It's not even like it's just plateaued. Like it's been like you've seen these moments where he looks better, and then I don't know. Yeah, I think there's probably just some maturing as a human being too. He's got to do. Again, man, you said he's only 23.
Yeah.
Like maybe I think maybe he'll if he takes responsibility and takes for his career. Yeah, I think it's great.
Let's transition to some Roland Garros storylines. There's a few things we need to talk about. I think the first thing we should talk about is capping this popcorn match that we have in the third round, Djokovic Fonseca. I know, Smooth, you're already on Fonseca. I think the line has moved slightly against you, unfortunately, but I'm curious to hear your logic. I'm on the Djokovic side, but let's start on the more interesting side, on the Fonseca logic.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had something fancy for you and like some really cool numbers for you. I don't though. have been watching both of these guys very carefully, and in Djokovic's case, a very long time. And I am basically going to be fading Djokovic on in best of five situations going forward against capable opponents. I think I think physically he's no longer there, and he is now more than ever relying on surface conditions to help him manage through matches. His spot serving is probably the best spot serving of all time. It's insanity. The fact that he has added that level of a weapon to his game at this age has prolonged his career and the elite level of his career for so long. But on this clay, whether it's 1,000 degrees or it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't with him. If it's hot enough for him to be able to have a chance to hit through the court, then we're in a position where Novak is in a compromise. He's in a compromising spot where he's having to play very physical tennis for extended sets. I don't think those points are going to end very easily, even if Djokovic is able to win a majority of them. I just think it's going to be a physical match that Djokovic is not necessarily favored to win. And if he plays at night when it's cooler, then Djokovic can't hit through the court, and Joao can. And if Joao is able to stay on the front foot long enough, I'm not sure Djokovic is going to be able to play flexible enough defense over enough time in order to steal enough points. But I guess like the cap, like the really simple way to explain the cap is that Djokovic now in this phase basically needs to be on the front foot as much as possible. And he needs as much help from the conditions to stay on the front foot as much as possible. And if he's in a position where he has to fight to get the front foot, to fight the endpoints, or even worse, fight from neutral, but fight from a defensive posture, I just don't think he can do that over 5 sets. So at plus 170, which is what I'm at, which is gross because I think it's going to close closer to plus 200. I just think that's a shot I'm going to have to take. And if Djokovic proves me wrong, like he's done so many freaking times, then so be it. But the last time I faded Djokovic, groin injury took me down.
So what's your minimum buy point on Fonseca here?
Minimum buy point on Fonseca is probably plus 140.
Okay.
Plus 125 would be like really stretching it. I really have not seen anything from Djokovic this season to suggest that he's going to have the physical stamina to play a high enough level of tennis here for a long enough time. But maybe I'm wrong.
So I'll counter that, and then I'll let Brad go and settle the tie here. So I'm on the Djokovic side. I mean, that being said, if I can get like plus 220 on Fonseca, I may have to reconsider. But given what the price is currently, I have to say I'm on the Djokovic side. Like what you say is correct regarding Djokovic's, lack of match play on clay, and everything you said was accurate. It's just Djokovic hasn't lost in the slam to anyone besides Sinner or Alcaraz since 2024. And the mental gap, the edge in tactics, the best of five format, I still think actually favors him because he can kind of buy himself some time and find a weakness that he can exploit. And he's just a tactical genius at work, and I think he's going to find some holes in Fonseca's game. Fonseca has visible holes in his game. His flashes of brilliance are amazing, like don't get me wrong, he can bomb balls from the back of the court. I think he's improved in certain aspects, but Djokovic over 5 sets can find a hole in his game, and he's pulled these kind of matches out so many times that he hasn't lost before a semi since 24. So I'm gonna look for minus 1.5 sets, maybe Djokovic to win and both to win a set kind of bet.
What about Djokovic 3-1?
I think Djokovic 3-2 is just as likely,
Fair
actually.
enough. Fair
So
enough.
I think 3-0 is unlikely. But and I also think with every passing match that Djokovic wins, I think he's going to get a little bit stronger. Um, he's shown this in the past, like when he hasn't had much match play leading up to a slam. As he progresses through a tournament, his level rises slightly. I'm not saying the Royer match was great, but obviously losing a set to Royer is not the best. But I actually think getting that extra hour on court might not necessarily be a bad thing for him. So Brad, why don't you settle the tie?
I mean, this is two guys who I really want to fade. Like on the Fonseca side, like, yeah, I mean, like he's got the highlights, like he's got the upside, like, but the results aren't there. And I tend to be someone, especially once you've seen, 10, 11, 12 matches this clay season, like at some point, if you're looking at a player right now in this time period, the results have to speak more than like how well they hit the ball. As someone who probably wins more matches himself than what his ball striking would give him, I tend to kind of lean that way. On the flip side, on Djokovic, we've got 3 data points now on clay this year. We've got a loss to Prizmic. We've got uh, a pretty ugly 4-set win over Pericard, especially the first 2 sets. And what was scary is like at times, Djokovic was struggling against Pericard in rallies. Um, and then Royer, I guess he kind of controlled the match, but he still dropped a set to Royer. Like, so, and even going back to Indian Wells, we've got 3 matches, all went 3 sets, including Kova and Marchak. So, like, it's there hasn't been a whole lot of the Australian Open wasn't particularly impressive, right? He got very lucky. I mean, he got completely bailed out, right? He was going to lose that match to Musetti, like
Mm-hmm.
so. I want to fade both these guys. If the number gets out to where I can take Fonseca plus a set and a half, that's probably what I'll do. So if it gets out to like a minus 200, you probably will get a decent price, yeah, on a Fonseca plus a set and a half. That's probably what I'll hit. Just because like I also think some of this Djokovic run mana you mentioned, like Djokovic having not lost a slam to any non-top player since 2024, it feels like a lot of that is like this aura where like guys as soon as they get in the winning position against Djokovic, like terrified.
Yeah.
Because we've seen him drop a lot of sets in this run.
Yeah, but he still wins the match.
Yeah. I mean, again, if you don't mind playing the juice, over 3.5 sets feels like a fantastic bet here.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah,
Seems with both these guys, it seems hard to imagine either guy's winning this 3-love. So
yeah.
yeah, those are my thoughts. I mean, I guess I guess if it gets out to minus 200, I'm probably going to have to lean Fonseca, but it's like
Yeah, yeah.
it's two guys who I'd rather fade if I could, but I don't. Yeah, yeah.
All right, so we got about 10 minutes left. We got to talk some Medvedev because talk about a guy that had a really weird clay court season, losing to Berrettini love and love, and then getting really close to beating Sinner in Rome, of all places, and then losing to Adam Walton. So can someone make any sense of this and what it means for Daniil Medvedev going forward? I have no answers here, so I'm gonna defer to one of you.
I mean, I think if I had to give it my best shot to explain the undescribable Daniil Medvedev, I think this is more or less. I think this the first half of the year is kind of more or less kind of what to expect from him, maybe going forward, which is a player who's still going to be capable of some very high highs, but um, is not going to be able to carry that level through a 52-week season anymore. So that's my best guess. I think his days of competing at a very high level on clay are probably done. Um, he's playing more aggressively, and that's all well and good. But I do think he's lost a little bit of a physical edge,
Hmm.
um, just a tiny bit. And it's not that it's not very good. It's just maybe not elite in match winning now. So
Can you pull up
um,
his serving stats from this year to last year?
yeah, of
But it
course.
feels pulling up stats with Medvedev seems almost counterproductive because it seems like it varies a ton from match to match.
Well, I've got a fun Medvedev stat for you guys. So far this year, 40% of Medvedev's sets have been 6-2, 6-1, or 6-0, one direction or the other.
It's
Wow,
incredible.
it's incredible. That's a great pull.
That's Hugo Gaston territory. I pulled up Hugo Gaston just for reference. And Hugo Gaston is like at the same, like he's at the same place that's like basically 40%. It's like 439 or 40% both of them are at. Which is insane because like if you just look at lines for most matches, like over under 8.5 games is usually up in like the minus 300 territory. So like
Wow.
you got, I mean, there's if that actually is the new Medvedev, I don't know if it is or if it's just variance, but if that is the new Medvedev moving forward, there's massive money to be made just betting his set unders every time.
It's great. That's a
That's
great
pretty
pickup.
interesting.
That's amazing.
I have his serve stats up. He is hitting about a one full ace less per game, and that's down now to 1.5 aces below his career average. So his career average is 8 aces a game. He's now hitting 6.4 aces per game, with about the same amount of double faults, 3.5. He's winning about the same amount though of first serve points. He's winning about the same amount of second serve points. He's making about the same amount of first serves. His speed is down. On average, he usually serves 123 miles per hour. This year he's serving 121 miles per hour. Yeah, a little fall off in the raw metrics, but they don't seem to be impacting his win rate all too much. But he is getting less aces, so presumably less cheaper points. Compared to last year, yeah, compared to last year, he's down a full ace. That's crazy.
Wow.
Smooth, is that hard versus hard or clay versus clay?
That's 25 versus 26.
Oh, full year?
Yeah.
Interesting. I pulled up on Tennis Abstract. Tennis Abstract is missing some matches, but they have him at 66% first serves in for 26, 61% for 25. But
Wow.
maybe it's missing some matches, or maybe I don't know. You're pulling off of
No, I was comparing it to his. So you're right. He is 66 this year compared to his average of 65. Last year he was 62.
Right. So,
On Tennis Viz.
Do you, do you,
Um,
do you think Medvedev like picks and chooses which tournament or which match he kind of wants to wake up for and like compete for? It's like kind of like a mood thing more than anything because we've seen him play insane tennis against like the likes of Alcaraz, and that second set against Sinner in Rome was phenomenal. I mean, um, and then he just comes out and loses 6-1 to Adam Walton. It's very perplexing to me, you know? And I just feel like he kind of wakes up on one side of the bed and says, like, I'm going to battle and be my best and hit these great shots, like I used to in 2019, 2020. And then some days he wakes up and it's like, I'd rather be with my daughter.
I think if he knew the answer to that question, he'd have a lot more titles. Yeah. I don't know,
I mean,
dude.
there
I
have been
think
some really concerning performances this year from Medvedev. The Australian Open loss to Lerner. Not
Yeah.
terrible to lose to Lerner, but to lose by 11 games is, I mean, that's not acceptable.
Yeah.
That's not acceptable with the pro level period,
Yeah.
especially for a guy who's wants to be top 10 theoretically. Um,
who
we've
is
got a loss
top
to
10?
Tsitsipas and Doha, whatever he lost whatever's remaining of Steph in 2
Yeah,
sets.
that's bad.
We've got a loss. We got the Love and Love loss to Berrettini. And now we've got the Walton loss. We've also got a loss to Ugo on a slow hard court in Rotterdam. So like that's 4 or 5, like
Yeah.
pretty bad, which is not something that Medvedev used to do. I feel like Medvedev used to, especially on hard courts, he used to beat the guys he should beat. That was kind of his MO.
But then he beats Alcaraz in Indian Wells, like out of nowhere.
Right. Right. It's yeah.
Crazy.
I think Smooth, you're right. I think there's something there in terms of he's 30 now. I think he's 30, Medvedev, and he's
Yeah.
probably an old 30 just because his style for so long was so physical. And this is something you see with like these older guys, like before the wall fully comes. The first kind of part of the wall, you start to see like it doesn't happen every day for him anymore. And then like slowly that percentage of days they can get it up like goes down. Get it up and get their level up. And that might be what we're seeing from Medvedev is he just can't. It's he gets out of bed 20% of days and like the body isn't there.
Yeah. All right.
And I don't think it's intent. And then there's probably something mood to go with it. It's tough for him too because even this more aggressive version of Medvedev, it's not like he's got like this elite ball striking game to like. If the body, even if the body's not there, what's he going to do?
But he has a game that can puzzle good players because the ball stays so low, right? Like I think this is something Alcaraz has trouble with is generating spin from low positions, right? Like I think they had a graphic when Sinner played Medvedev versus Ruud at the Rome final. The ball that he was hitting against Medvedev was like over a foot on average lower than the ball against Ruud. So like that
That's
probably
interesting.
explains the giant killer kind of ability just because what he does is so different and he's very smart, you know? So I don't know. We only have a couple minutes left, so I want to talk about our biggest gripes. There are a lot with the French Tennis Federation and the TNT coverage, so I think it's gonna be the rant session. So I guess Brad, we can start with you. What's your
My rant
rant?
is the TNT coverage. Like people are covering are acting as if this TNT coverage is positive, and I'm not a fan of all. I mean, like I haven't gotten a chance to use the HBO Max yet. I'm excited to use that because I'm hoping that's better. But I mean, TNT's got one court plus like their rally that they put on True TV, which was kind of fun last year. But the McEnroe brothers can be pretty tough at times, and it's none of the networks do a great job of it. But I think my frustration is like the coverage has been so bad for so long with the French Open that now that TNDT has done a below passable job, like we're now lauding it, and I'm just frustrated. I think I'm less frustrated by the coverage itself and more frustrated by we're like, oh, TNT has really stepped up their coverage. Like no, like they've shown it every day. Like that's been the stepping up. Whereas like before we didn't have it on cable TV like at all. I mean, NBC's coverage was atrocious. Like, NBC's coverage was a complete disaster. So it's been, I mean, at least they're putting it on TV, which is, I guess, an improvement. But like to laud somebody for like paying for the contract and putting it on TV is just not like it's not even bare minimum. And then
You
I
only
would
got
say
one.
like it's even I think it's the hardest tournament to find like good highlights of, good replays of, and so that's and I'm not even saying full match replays, but like good condensed replays of so yeah, I think my overall frustration would be the media coverage because I don't know. I like to watch tennis and it's the ESPN app is so much easier. So yeah.
How about you, Smooth?
Oh, I don't know if I actually have a gripe. Things are going pretty well for me at Roland Garros so far. I don't know if I want to poke the bear all too much. I guess my only real gripe is I'm so bored of Sinner and Zverev, and if I get another Sinner Zverev final, I'm gonna scream. I'm gonna be so unwell if I wake up at 6 a.m. to watch Sinner dust Zverev 6-2, 6-2, 6-1 again.
Yeah.
So
yeah, give us Sinner Hodar.
But I mean, legitimately, what final do you want? I mean, do you want Sinner?
I don't
Djokovic?
care. Not that final.
You want Sinner
Sure.
what?
Sure, Sinner Djokovic, great. Do not make me watch Sinner beat Zverev again. Do not make me watch Sinner. That match, he owns it, dude. It's just that's my gripe. My gripe is how bad Zverev is. That's my.
It's the despondent look on his face. It's the lack of competing. It's the lack of problem solving.
We mentioned it, right? Like we talked about it before with Shelton. Like Zverev's a guy who I get like Smooth. You said Zverev's taking responsibility for his career in terms of putting in the physical work he has, but he really hasn't taken responsibility for the mental side.
No, he has not.
No, absolutely not.
Like the whole sleep thing after Madrid. I think it was Madrid when he complained about like having to play a match at 5 p.m. in the final.
Dude, he's the worst. he really has it. I meant more in terms of like he was with his dad, and then he I think professionalized his team a little bit because his dad's not his only coach anymore. Is it right? Is that right? Or is his dad only coach still?
His
I know his
brother,
dad's
Jess
still in the
Green.
box, and his
Yeah.
brother's in the box too. I
Brothers
don't
in
know.
the
I can't remember if he's
box.
got other
So,
coaches or not, but yeah.
Just ignore
well,
me.
my biggest gripe is the lack of electronic line calling at the
That's a good
French
one.
Open. I just can't stand it. Like, pay the money for for it. It's the biggest clay court tournament in the world. Like, you're making a mockery out of it by not doing it when all these 250s and some challengers pay money to put the electronic line calling in. And it's basically ruined a few matches. Like that last point with the in the Ugo Carballi Rublev match today. Like, I wanted to see that on replay. Like, that was super close to the line that could have given Ugo Carabao back to, I think, 6-all in the fourth set breaker. Like,
The only thing is on those
you
super
know,
close calls, the ELC isn't perfect either, right? Like even the Hawkeye, whoever, I can't remember the name of the company that's doing it now, but even they will say there's a few millimeters error in there because it's a projection. They're like
yeah.
it's there's
And,
a few millimeters error there too. But I do agree with you, man. Like there's an element of the consistency there, and at least there's not like
yes.
there's nothing to complain about. If the ELC says it's out, it's out.
And these guys are generally good sports. Like it's very rare with these guys. There's too much respect that like they'll pick the wrong mark. I mean, some guys do, but you know, just have it. If you have it for a 250, you got to have it for this tournament. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
100%. That is by far the biggest gripe, and I can go on a long rant, but I won't. It's unacceptable they don't have it, and it's unacceptable that they do have it, and they consciously choose not to use it.
Yeah, yeah.
Insane,
That's
an insane thing to do.
And I
So,
think they're telling the networks not to show it because
100%.
I haven't seen it once on network t or like on HBO Max
They
or
did on day
whatever.
one, and they did on day one, and they didn't
I'm
since.
sure Amelie Mauresmo is like telling them not to because they're like kind of ashamed, but they still don't want to put it on. I think they don't want to pay for it. I think that's what it boils down to. Like, I think they're being cheap, and then they gyp the people on prize money, and then they wonder why the players are boycotting. Like, just put two and two together. Like, what the hell are you doing? I mean, it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But so, any last thoughts before we end it for today?
I'm good. This was very fun. I'm looking forward to doing it next Wednesday.
Awesome, awesome.
Aligned. Aligned with Ruth. I guess the last thought would be like, hey guys, we're back. Excited to have you back. Definitely, I apologize for like a couple of months off. I think we're gonna do it just smooth. We're definitely gonna try to get back to this every Wednesday, and get a little more consistent. And if people want to hear certain things, don't want to hear certain things in the pod, especially knowing it's gonna be a Wednesday pod, would love to hear what you guys like to see. We've moved away from the pure betting coverage just due to the limited shelf life. If that's something that people want to hear and hear us talk through, we're more than happy to get back to a more gambling centric coverage. But we sort of made an intentional move away from that, and so we'd love to hear people's thoughts on that specifically.
Definitely. All feedback is definitely welcome. So have a great night, everyone. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next week. Take
Bye,
care.
everyone.